All right, everybody. I'm going to be honest. I have no clue where to even start with this game right here. What an ugly, abysmal excuse for a game that the New Orleans Saints played against the Seattle Seahawks. And like I said, I have no clue where to start. So I'm just going to start on the first offensive drive of the series and go from there because this is kind of where it all started, I suppose. Right. So this is a 3rd down and 2, 3rd and short. The Saints are really just trying to pick up the first down here. This ball is supposed to go to Juwan Johnson, right? He's lined up, at the fullback position, and basically he's going to bluff like he's going to block this end and then leak out to the flat, and Rattler is going to try and hit him. They're just trying to pick up a first down, right? Everybody else really is just trying to clear the way for Juwan Johnson. Now, is this the best throw in the world? No, right? It's high, it's on his head, probably a little bit behind. But do we got to make this catch if we're Juwan Johnson? Yes. I mean, our head is turned around. We have eyes on the ball, and it just goes right through our hands. And again, I get it. Not the greatest throw in the world. 100%. Could put this out here more, on his outside shoulder, maybe hit him in stride, yada, yada, yada. But 3rd and short, your team's 0-2. We got to make this catch and pick up the first down because it leads to a 4th down that the Saints did not convert, which leads me to said 4th down. Now, I am not in love with this call at all. Remember, it's 4th and 2, man. It's 4th and 2. I do not love the play call here. So we're going to get the backside here, Shaheed on this little pop route or hook route over the ball. We're going to get Olave on like a deep cross or post, right? And then we're going to get Cooks, kind of like this. And then we're going to have Alvin Kamara come out of the backfield and run almost like a fade wheel, right? So it's going to look something like this. Now, reminder, it is 4th and short, and all of our real routes that have a chance are down the field. So, the Seahawks are going to be manning up Cooks and manning up Olave in the slot and then dropping off out of this pressure look into zone coverage on the backside. And, Shaheed is going to be completely smothered up top, which is, the only route really at the sticks. And there's just really nothing. So, we're at the top of our drop. Rattler thinks, he feels pressure, so he rolls out, whatever, right? But, I mean, look downfield. Like right now, everybody's covered. Cooks has literally no shot. Olave is covered by an underneath defender and a safety with eyes on him. Rattler does the best he can. He makes a play, and he actually, puts a throw on the run with some pressure in his face. And, whatever you want to do, blame the throw, blame, the receiver here, which is AK. To me, I feel like I don't know why AK stops running here. Like when Rattler is letting this thing go, this is what he sees. He sees Alvin Kamara running, right? And this is really just a bad job, in my opinion, from AK tracking this thing. Because again, the ball is being let go as Rattler sees AK running. But look how he just kind of slows up there at the end, turns around, tries to make like an Odell style catch. When I don't know why he just didn't keep running and do a better job of tracking this thing. So I don't really put this on the throw. I put this more on just a bad job of tracking it from Alvin Kamara. But really, more than anything, I hate the route concept that was put on the field. I mean, this just, the concept is everything vertical down the field other than Shaheed, who right here where he would have thrown it was covered, by 2 defenders. So don't love the concept, but yeah. The run game for the most part was really not that great. They had a couple nice runs, but really it was more of this right here of them just getting absolutely stuffed for no gain. And again, like I don't love running. First of all, the formation the Saints are in here, you have everybody in real tight. You have all 11, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then Olave is like right here, just off the screen. So you already have everybody in tight. And, you have 2 tight ends on the field. But what that does is it also brings the defense in tight. So in this run here, you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blockers. Okay. 8 New Orleans Saint blockers for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Seattle Seahawks defenders, right? And really, you could even say 10. This guy's lined up over the receiver, but the receiver is going to end up blocking. So really, you're running 8 blockers into a 10-man box. that's why I don't love bringing everybody down so compressed like this, because you're just making things tougher. And on top of that, right, most everybody in this job in this play from the Saints actually did a decent job of blocking their assignment, but we get beat in one spot, and that's really all it takes, right here at the tight end position. We just get beat. Okay, we get beat, and that's all she wrote, because that allows the penetration, and then that's it. I mean, you have really no chance. Like, everybody here on the front side did a decent enough job, right? They're at least creating something. But when we get beat at one spot, you know, and you'd like to see Asim Richards here, 72, at least give a hand or an arm or a shoulder or something here to help the tight end, and then come up here, to the play side, zone off to the play side. And when we have everybody in here tight like this on the defensive line, we got to give our guy backside some help, especially if it's a tight end blocking a defensive lineman like it is here. We got to be able to give help on the backside there. It's just almost an impossible ask for a tight end to get over here and try and reach this guy, right? And you can see it ends up in a disaster where, 99, I don't know if is that Leonard Williams maybe, who is playing out of this world, by the way. He gets in there and makes a tackle for no gain. So the run game for the most part was pretty ugly for the New Orleans Saints. All right, here is the punt block that was, blocked, obviously. Now, I am not a special teams expert whatsoever. In fact, it is 100% my weak point, and I will admit that. So I don't know exactly what's going on here, but I can tell you for sure, in no way, shape, or form does a protection or anything call for a guy to be clearly unblocked from the edge right here. Again, not a special teams guy. I think what happens here is, if I remember correctly, like, these up backs here are taught to count from the outside in, and they're usually responsible for the number one guy from the outside in. So in this case, it would be, this guy would be responsible for this guy, right? Which is the one that comes unblocked. And then the tackles are going to be responsible for the number two guy, which would, end up being this guy. So here to here. That's what I think. Again, not a special teams expert, admittedly, okay? But I know that we are not supposed to have a guy come free off of the edge like this. And that's exactly what happens. Again, with the run game miscues, I mean, this is looks like inside zone or mid zone going to the right. And, leaving, the backside guy unblocked is not uncommon, right? So that part is whatever. But I don't really understand why nobody is picking up number 0 here. It looks like Jawan Johnson is just ignoring him and leaving to the second level. And this is it's so clearly obvious that he's doing this, that it makes me think he's being coached to do this, to maybe influence number 0 here and then move upfield to the second level. But if that's the case, then I would assume the tackle would need to come and be responsible for 0. Right, but to have two guys essentially blocking nobody off the rip and letting 0 Lawrence just have a straight path to the running back, it's just like something's got to give here. Like, something is obviously not right. In my mind, it would need to look something like this. Let's see. Get the guy down here. So it would need to look something like this, right? Come out here, second level. I mean, pretty obvious, right? I mean, again, I'm not in the room. I don't know their blocking assignments or what they're being coached to do, but I know for a fact 0 is not supposed to be unblocked here, right? And, it looks like Rattler possibly is reading the number 7 here, and he surfs with Rattler, so he gives it to AK, which is the correct decision, but we also need to do a better job at the left tackle spot from Kelvin Banks Jr. here. Got to do better than that as well. I mean, yeah, just not good enough. All right, let's talk this would-be interception from Rattler, if not for an illegal contact downfield. Now, it looks like the Seahawks are going to drop out and play cover 2, right? 2 deep safeties. In the cover 2, you would normally expect this guy to be the cloud defender, which means he's playing the flat, or he's playing a cloud, which means he's going to carry anything vertical until he gets a threat in the flat. Now, the problem is there's really not a big enough threat for him to fall off of this, and I think that's what Rattler was expecting him to do. So Rattler, you can see he's looking at the safety. So now he's diagnosed, probably cover 2, right? But the problem is he's expecting this guy to stay underneath and maybe fall off with Kamara, or maybe just fall off in general, right? He thinks this is a cloud, and I think it is too, but I think he just makes a decision to run with Olave instead of falling off. Like right here, I think Olave is expecting him to sort of fall off with AK leak into the flat, but he carries him vertical, and the Rattler lets it go, and it ends up being an interception, but you do get that flag, and it ends up not counting. So to me, that's what Rattler's thought process is here. He sees cover two, expects this guy to fall off. He doesn't, and he ends up throwing a would-be interception. All right, let's sprinkle in a little positivity here. I like the anticipation on this throw from Spencer Rattler, so it's just going to be a little Omaha route. We're going to get a must outside release go out here from, I believe that's Brandon Cooks, right? And then we're going to get the out route from Chris Olave, and the timing on this throw from Spencer Rattler is literally perfect, because any later than this and it's probably either a pass breakup, if not for an interception. So back foot hits, look, he's already releasing this ball, right? Already releasing the ball. And it gets there just on time in between two zone defenders. Now, again, if he throws this any later, guy up top can make a play on it. But because he throws it when he's still in that back pedal, he doesn't have time to react to it as quickly and get to that ball. And Olave makes a nice catch, right? And, why does this route right here have to be outside release? Well, we want to make sure that this defender's eyes stay outside, because if this were to release inside, this defender's eyes would be to the inside, and he could have a better chance on breaking, on this out route to Chris Olave. So just a really nice job overall. See the outside release gets the eyes going outside and opens up just enough a window for Spencer Rattler to fit that ball in there. This is going to be a 1st down and 10. Okay. And we're going to run pretty much 4 verticals here. We're going to get tight end. We're going to get the seams and back here as well. And we're going to get middle of the field open for the Seahawks defense. And I think it's going to be some type of match quarters. You got these guys playing up tight, and it looks like they're going to be sticking with the number 1 receivers. And you got these quarters back here. So really, we can throw this seam to Juwan Johnson. It's open, but we get sort of, we're staring at Rashid Shaheed wanting to throw this thing. We see this up close coverage. We think maybe we can run by him, right? And it doesn't end up happening. It looks like maybe Rattler went for a maybe some sort of back shoulder look here, right? And they just can't connect. Now, if he can just get his eyes back inside, maybe at this point, see, it's probably not going to come open. Again, I don't hate this. I don't hate taking a chance on it. You do have a fast guy here, but put it out in front of him, put it out in front of him. But we throw it back shoulder. But if we look inside, Juwan Johnson here is going to come wide open, right? Going to come wide open. There's nobody in the middle of the field. And, Rattler decides to go with Rashid Shaheed, and you get an incomplete pass. Next one here, I feel like with a little bit better throw, this could be a touchdown on the slant or the short post to Olave. Rattler, you can see at the snap, he's looking at what the safeties are doing. And he identifies, okay, we got a guy working to the middle of the field. So when he puts this thing on him, he probably has that in mind, right? He doesn't want to lead him too far because he doesn't want to get Olave hit. And so he ends up maybe throwing this thing a little behind, and they're able to get a pass breakup on it. But I still think, you still got to lead your guy a little more, upfield into the end zone, because he's not super open, right? But there is a path to completing this pass, and you got to put it in front of him to give him a little bit better chance, right? But again, at the same time, I understand what I believe what Rattler's thinking is here. You can see here at the snap, he's going to check the safeties and see that there's going to be one rotating into the middle of the field right here. So you can see him checking them, eyes on the safety. But at this point, we see this guy, right? We're looking at him. His hips are facing this way. So we know we have an opportunity, we have a throwing window to let this thing go, right? And you can see little behind. Maybe if we can put this thing out here a little more, we can maybe catch it in stride and have a little bit better chance of a touchdown. But we get a little pass, or we get a pass that's a little behind, and it's broken up. Next one here, 3rd down and 6. Okay, we're going to run Shaheed on a deep corner. We're going to have Olave across the field, and then we're going to try to hit Cooks here, breaking underneath the corner. It's going to be against a too high look, right, which is a nice play call versus too high. But the problem is number 1 right here. He's going to drop out, right, sort of in this zone area, and he's going to have eyes on Rattler the entire way. And I just don't think Rattler's seen him, right? You know, you could see here, drop out. We get like a 2 deep look. He's got eyes on him the entire way. And you can see the way this thing is set up here, right? If number 1 isn't in the picture, you know, it would be open. But this is just a really nice job with the coverage from the Seattle Seahawks. And Rattler just does not see 1 who watches him the entire way and then breaks on the ball once it's thrown, and you get a pass breakup. So, you know, it comes down to Rattler not seeing it, but also just a really nice play from number 1 on the Seahawks defense. Next one here, this ball has to go to Cooks in the seam. It does not get any more wide open than this. So over here on the left side, at least it looks like they're playing just regular spot drop cover 3. We're going to have a middle of the field safety. He's going to rotate up, right? And we're going to have a flat player and then a deep third player and then a hook player, right? And this is the look you're looking for, the look you want on cover 3 versus cover 3, right? In the seam. Now, Cooks is going to come wide open, and Rattler looks his way, right? He's looking there. And I'm not sure what he sees at this point to make him come off of it, because, I mean, it just does not get any more wide open than this in the NFL. But for whatever reason, he comes back, takes the check down to Kamara, and it's an incomplete pass. So really, I would like to know what would make him, you know, come off of that. This is the ideal you look verticals, you know, versus a cover 3 look. That's exactly what you get on the front side here to Cooks, right? The back side, it looks like they're matching things. But down here, this is just regular old spot drop cover 3, and Cooks is going to be wide open in the seam. And for whatever reason, Rattler doesn't want to throw it. And I mean, even if you look at it from the end zone view here, you'll see his eyes look that way, right? He's looking that way. And then he comes back down and just tries to dump it off. Next one here, I like what the Saints were trying to do concept-wise. So we're going to get the motion down here to Cooks, and we're going to fake the little swing, right? And what that's going to do is going to get everybody to bite over here, and we're going to get Juwan Johnson sort of over the ball. The throw to me is just behind, you know, and these are the ones that just drive me nuts with Spencer Rattler, because you see the ability, you see him, the right reads, but it's just the accuracy issues that pop up from time to time when you get into the intermediate or deep parts of the field that just drive me nuts. So, you know, the play works as designed. We fake here. This safety bites over it, right? It's going to leave Juwan open over the middle, but we just throw it a tick behind. And because we throw it a tick behind, it allows number 8 to recover, boom, and make a play on the ball, you know? And I mean, like, let's just lead him a little bit. You know, let's just lead him out this way a little bit, put it out here. You know, you could throw it a little further away. It says a tight end. He can reach out and get it, but we put it a little bit behind. If we go over here to the end zone view, we can take a look at it again. Speed this up here. So there's the fake. We get the bite, but we just don't. I mean, the ball is just put a little too behind, and it allows the defender to catch up and make a play on it. And then the very next play here, we get a sack, right? This ball needs to be out, though. If you're Spencer Rattler, this ball, it's open. When our back foot hits, 1, 2, 3, ball needs to be out right now to Olave. We've seen him hit this same sort of thing earlier, right? We're still having the outside release here with Cooks, or I believe that's Cooks coming, to take this defender away. That is open. You have the time to throw it. We need to throw it. We need to get this first down, right? It's right at the sticks. Throw it. But instead, he pulls it down. He feels the pressure from the edge, which really wasn't pressure because Banks ends up doing a nice job stonewalling him. But either way, the ball should have been out. Like now. Ball needs to be out now. But we pull it, run it, and get sacked. Next one here, we're going to get a play fake to the right to get the defense moving to the right. And then we're going to try to hit Shaheed on this short post over the middle. And it works, but for whatever reason, Rattler doesn't throw it. Now, he does end up making a nice play for a nice completion, so I'm not complaining too much here. But you'll see what I mean. So here's the play fake. Gets the defense moving one way, and we're going to bring Shaheed back on the glance this way. And you can see right now it's wide open. And Rattler's winding up to throw this thing, but he just pulls it down. He pulls it down, decides not to throw it. It's wide open, right? And instead, he goes on the run, and he completes a nice one here down here to Cooks. But this is just a classic example of making it a lot harder than it has to be. I mean, it's wide open to Shaheed. We got to let that one rip. Now, I got to show Rattler some love on this play because this was an absolute steamer to the tight end here for the touchdown. I thought watching this live, he was throwing this thing away. So he feels pressure right here, escapes. And at this point, I think he's running for the sticks, right? But he's keeping his eyes downfield. He sees the tight end come open, lets it go last second, And I mean, it don't get prettier than that. So you can see the potential that Rattler has and some of the stuff that he's able to do. I mean, because this right here is an absolute beauty. Now, another thing I want to mention from this game is Torselli Simpkins making the start for Dylan Redunz or Trevor Penning, whoever. He's getting his first start. Undrafted free agent rookie, right? I know everybody's going to want him to, be in a starting role moving forward, but I want to tell you guys, he did not play well at all this game. It's pretty clear. I love the demeanor he plays with, the nastiness he plays with, but he has a long way to go physically and technically, right? There are a lot of plays like this where he just gets out physicaled at the point of attack. Like right here, he just gets completely beat right off the snap. And it's really clear, especially in the run game, where he needs to get a lot stronger and a lot more technically sound. But the potential is there for him, and he will just continue to get better. And playing in games like this against a very good defensive line in your first ever start is tough. But I just wanted to put that out there. All right, this here is a 3rd and 7, and the Seahawks are going to bring a blitz from the Saints' left side. And you can see that's the way that the concept is going. But, Spencer has to flush because we get beat from the left. So there's that, right? Would have had Shaheed open probably over here, but pressure. A couple things here. Number one, probably could dump it off to Jawan. Maybe he picks up a first. I mean, the sticks are here. Probably picks up a first right at this point. But he decides to, run. He's keeping his eyes downfield, which I like, right? But number two, you probably could have also just kept running and picked up the first. I mean, again, now listen, at this point, guys, game's out of hand. Game is way out of hand. We're deep in the 4th, so we're just nitpicking here. But, we end up scrambling and throwing this thing and overthrowing our receiver here. We throw the ball, towards the sideline way deeper than our receiver is. But, I don't like the job here from, is that Kevin Austin Jr. on the field or Cooks? I'm sorry, it's hard to tell. It's Brandon Cooks, I think. You'd hope, instead of him like coming flatter, I'd like to see him go more upfield at an angle just to make it easier on the quarterback. Like, really stop and think about how tough of a throw this is right here from the quarterback. He has to throw this thing and fit it while on the run over these defenders right here. I mean, it's a super tough throw to make. You got to give it enough air to where it makes it over there, but you also have to throw it accurately and, hard, because we're almost to the sideline, right? And so it ends up going up here. Now, if Cooks were to take this thing at more of an angle, right, more this way, number one, you're giving your quarterback a lot more room to throw it out here in front, and he might not have to, throw it as hard because, again, he would have more room. So I don't love the angle that Cooks takes here on the scramble, and I really don't love the idea of Rattler letting this thing go when he could have just scrambled for the first down or dumped it off. But you get the point. The game was out of hand at this point anyway. All right, that's going to be it for this video. Look, certainly you can't blame this loss on the offense. Did they play great? No. But this game was 21-0 before you could really even blink. This game was lost on special teams, and it was lost on coaching, and also, the defense did not play well at all when they were on the field. And I'll go over that in a video later this week on this channel. But I appreciate you guys watching. Peace.